Three mad blokes with an obsession for photography and generally prattling about decide to embark on an epic journey to the southern region of Spain. What could possibly go wrong? Coming up, Malcolm walks past a very big rock. We see a bloke in a canoe. And Steve picks up a stone. In the early hours of the first day, while Steve was still fast asleep, Malcolm and I arose to take some early morning pictures.
We've just come out to this causeway and lighthouse. We got up at a rather ungodly hour so that we could take pictures, time lapses and long exposures of the sunrises. And I've got some really amazing long exposure shots of all these rock pools that are surrounding the causeway.
So you've got one of the fishermen showing you his fish, which was enormous. It's a bit nippy. But,
well, that's why you wear a fleece.
Well, yes. I wished I took note.
Tell us a little bit about the area that we're around at the minute now.
We're partway down the La Manga Strip, about 14 kilometres down. We're seeing lots of yachts and boats and jet skiers seem to be in a race of some sort. The lighthouse behind us is called the Faro del Estacio, literal translation, the station lighthouse. And there's an artificial causeway that's been built. It's made of rocks and stuff that we've had to battle across, risking life and limb.
Camera abandoned up on the causeway, hopefully not picked up by some wayward fishermen.
Exactly, yes, they might make more out of that than they do of the whole day's catch.
I don't know, you get that romanticised notion that perhaps they are some sort of aspiring filmmaker.
Yes.
They find an abandoned camera and then they go off.
End up in Hollywood.
Right, I think we better go back and wake Steve up.
Yes, and get some breakfast.
Yeah, I mean it does take 3 cigarettes and 2 cups of tea for him to sort of resemble something that's vaguely human.
Yes. Let's hope he's got his shirt on now.
Yeah.
Because that's a bit,
And after a quick breakfast of some freshly baked churros, we were soon on the road, and Malcolm explained how the Spanish went about their siestas.
They'll stay out sunbathe until about 2 or 3 o'clock, and then they'll go in, and then they'll come back out again at 5, half 5, and sunbathe until about 9 or 10. Yeah.
Soon we spoiled our breakfasts, and we stopped at some old windmills.
And now we're down the bottom end of La Manga, so this is right down the end of the strip, and we're by one of the windmills here, which I believe was used as pumping to pump some of the water off the land. Because we're right on the edge of the Mediterranean and the Mar Menor, it gets quite windy here from the sea, so windmills are perfect.
Soon we travelled to the opposite end of the La Manga Strip and arrived near the town of Cabo.
We've stopped at this rather rough-strewn beach, which seems to have been eroded over centuries by nature. Very jagged coastline, and as you can tell by this wobbly footage, I'm trying not to fall on my tits.
We're at the top of the La Manga Strip. It's in a place called Cabo de Palos, and this is a really tortured landscape, but it's right at the tip, right at the top of the strip. So the strip runs right down that way.
If you notice that all the cliffs are undercut, which is due to obviously a mixture of weathering processes, obviously the whole rock area is it's quite weak. It's not very resistant to this kind of weathering. Now the top layer there, which looks to me a bit like it has a bedding plane on the top, which means it's very flat, it's slightly harder than the underlying strata, which if you look over there you can see where it's actually been undercut and then collapsed. The same thing will happen here. It will undercut, and eventually the whole thing will collapse and you get an inlet, and the whole process starts all over again.
The three of us advanced along the coast, taking in the views and the scenery. We were then subjected to a lesson on rocks from our resident geology expert.
If you look here, you can see there are several different layers of rock. They're out of sequence. This, to me, if you're looking very closely, looks possibly like a metamorphic rock. There's a lovely, lovely piece of mineralization here. Maybe it's some kind of slump, or there's been a flood, or something like that. It is very brittle. It's a bit like slate. It's been altered by localized heat, which could be due to higher temperatures and pressures deeper down in the earth, but not enough. The chemical makeup of the rock is still the same. It's just under the tremendous heat and pressure, it's altered, and all the molecules and the elements and things all rebond under those immense pressures and temperatures. But if you look at the shiny side of it, it is very schistose. So there's a lot of mica in it. Okay.
Fascinating. Thank you, Steve. Moving on. We soon arrived at the fishing port of Cabo. And then we moved further along the cliffs stopping every now and then to take a few pictures. And eventually we reached the lighthouse, bringing an end to our journey for the day. Next time, we visit some Roman ruins, a very big statue, and some very, very big guns.
I'm not going to subject you to any more of their madness for the time being.